Hold on to your mug. We're in for a wild night.
Greeting, traveler.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Born to be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I'm your host, as always, Nate Wolf, and joining me, of course, two of my favorite people. Mike Lowe, good morning. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Got top grades at the academy. It's time to take off, right?
Yes, you're going on to the next... it's vacation time to go to the fair. Hydra, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's first thing in the morning. We got a lot of cards to go over today, and I'm really interested in hearing everybody's opinions. It's going to be a good time.
I love your hat, by the way.
Oh,
turned
yeah.
out the beanie. Everyone says toque in Canada, and I think that is the most hilarious thing. I get a kick out of that because I'd never heard it until, I don't know, over the last month or so.
That's so weird because you don't live far from Canada. Like you're not that far.
I don't know. I've it's always been like a beanie is what I've heard it referred to as, but
yeah, no, we call it toque. But if anyone wants to see it, it looks like this.
I like it. Hey, there is I wasn't planning on doing this, but now that you bring it up, there is a 10% off sale going on. I just have not made a graphic for it yet. But if you go to the merch shop and enter the code BTBW, as in Born to Be Wild, you get 10% off your entire order on our merch shop. So, but anyways,
nice.
Anyways, I would like to welcome back Electric Sheep City, a very special guest joining us today.
Sheep.
Howdy.
What up?
Hey, Gal, how's it going?
Good. And thank you in advance. I know you put together this spreadsheet. It was a lot of work, a lot of time and energy, but it should be a fun show today. So we're taking a look at the Madness at the Darkmoon Faire card set. As tradition goes, we do kind of a massive set review every time a new set is coming out. So one thing that we'll be doing this time is I've got the spreadsheet on the screen here for those of you watching the either live or watching the video version, and it'll show each of our individual scores, and then it'll show our collective average per card. So here's the scoring guide here. It goes 1 through 5, 1 being the low, 5 being the high. So this is how we scored these. 1 means unplayable. 2 means sees fringe play, so not a lot, but it may be in a really off meta, like tier 3, tier 4 meme deck type. 3 is playable. This is like you're not good, not bad, but like you could play it. 4 is played in meta decks. 5 is meta defining. So 4 played in meta decks is kind of your like this will see play. This will be in your probably tier 2, tier 3, maybe tier 1 decks. And then 5 meta defining. This is like the card that is probably going to get nerfed, right? Because it's so good. And so one thing that we do a little bit differently here, because we're reviewing these cards specifically from a wild perspective, is a lot of times we ask ourselves, like the card will score lower on our show than it would on a standard show, because in wild we are asking ourselves, like, does this slot into an existing deck? It has to be good enough to replace whatever's existing, like whatever's there right now, or does it create some kind of new archetype? And unfortunately, many times the answer is no, but we'll see. So this should be a lot of fun. And we can have discussion, around each card. So for those of you who are listening to the audio version of this is one that I do recommend that you watch in person, because we'll have the cards up on the screen as we discuss them. I'll do my best to describe them, or whoever's talking can describe the card for the folks listening to the audio version of this. But it's kind of cool to see the scores and the artwork of the card on the screen as we're doing this. Anyways, without further ado, let's just get started. There's plenty of cards. First up is the Demon Hunter class. I saw that these were alphabetical. That makes it easier for me. Okay, so first up, and then we'll be doing the rarity, just so you know. The classes are all in alphabetical order, and then we're doing the cards in order of rarity. So common, then rare, then epic, then legendary, and then moving on to the next class. We will be taking breaks in between classes and try to make the audio and the video into smaller chunks. So we may take breaks depending on how long everything goes. So anyways, let me remove the scoring guide from the screen. Put the scores back up, and then let's get started. So our first Demon Hunter card is a 1-mana common spell called Fellscream Blast. It has Lifesteal. Deal 1 damage to a minion and its neighbors. I guess I'll go ahead and get started with my hot take on this, and then we can just go in a circle. So then Mike, then Hydra, then Sheep, if that works for you guys. Okay, so I gave this one a 1. I think that this is good, maybe in standard. I don't know. I think that this could be cool if it was buffed by spell damage. I don't really see this having a home in Odd Demon Hunter, or frankly in Wild in general. So I don't know. I mean, I'd be anxious for someone to prove me wrong. I think Demon Hunter is still developing as a class, and in Wild currently the only good decks are Odd. Although recently we started to kind of see the evolution of a like Soul Shard Demon Hunter that's pretty low to the ground. So there's some potential, and I think like Wildcard was playing like a big Demon Hunter, and like over time the class will evolve. Although I just don't think that this is quite good enough to see play yet, but I'd be happy for someone to prove me wrong. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, so I agree with a lot of what you said. I'm going to rate this card pretty low too. I don't see it going in Odd Demon Hunter. I see it applies against like Odd Paladin. I do believe in Soul Demon Hunter. I got a list I'm working on there. I think that's going to be a really good deck in Wild, but I don't think this fits in that deck, so I'm going to rate this a 1 too.
Yeah, personally, I don't see this as like Odd Demon Hunter wants to keep putting on the aggression and go face, and this seems like more of a defensive tool, and just for me does not make the cut in an Odd Demon Hunter. It doesn't seem to fit the plan that I want. So currently, it's unplayable in Wild unless something else comes up. So it's a 1 for me.
Danny has a good point too in chat, saying that it's relevant because it potentially nerfs Wandmaker, like it dilutes the pool of 1-mana spells. So like we were saying last time, the cards that create 1-mana Demon Hunter spells, when the class first came out, it was like, cool, do I get silence and draw a card, or do I get God, what was the other one at the time? Oh, the mana burn. It was, it was those two, and then the nerf to Twin Slice came, and then we could get that, and so Wandmaker's pretty good. This dilutes that pool. I think that's a very good point. Sheep, what about you?
In the same sense, real quick, in the same sense, Wandmaker could find this card when you need some life, and there's actually a couple minions with 1 health. I think, yeah, I think the card's still bad.
Yeah, I don't think this card is bad. I'm never going to actively run this card in a Demon Hunter deck in the current meta, though, because we're not running Control Demon Hunter. This is good against Odd Paladin, and that's about it. Maybe a couple of the pirates with a 1 health. This is a 1 for me as well.
All right. Moving along then. Next up is Redeemed Pariah. This is a common 2-mana 2/3. After you play an Outcast card, gain +1/+1. So I scored this one a 1 as well. I think that this is okay in standard, maybe. I think that there's a decent stat line. 2-mana 2/3 seems okay. And I think that it's relatively easy to trigger the ability. But I don't, it's as an even cost card. Where do you play it? I just don't see this being played in Wild. I think it's probably pretty decent in standard, but I gave it a 1. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1 as well. I was gonna say a 2, like Fringe, but Like after you play an Outcast card, this card gets +1/+1. And looking at the Outcast cards, like this just doesn't interest me and doesn't fit in Wild
I
at the
mean,
moment.
it's the thing that I didn't realize or think about until just now is that the potential for this is to keep growing, almost like a questing adventure, right? But, but like, wouldn't you rather just play questing adventure?
Yeah.
Yeah, if this card said after you play a card on the left or right side of your hand, sure, but you got to play a specific card like Outcast, so I give it a 1.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's like questing adventure is something that's easier to set up. Like an Edwin is easier to set up. It's going to be completely like you can try to mulligan to have things a certain way, but I feel like it's way too conditional, and we're playing Odd Demon Hunter, so I gave it a 1.
Yeah, I really like the buff to Outcast and incentivizing playing that, but we're not playing this in Wild. We're not running this in our deck.
Rip.
It's a 1 for me as well.
Oh, sad. Okay. Next up is acrobatics. All right. Let me just make sure I keep the score moving along here. Okay, so this is a 3-mana common spell. It says draw 2 cards. If you play both this turn, draw 2 more. So here's my thoughts on this. 3-mana draw 2 is an arcane intellect with an added bonus, though it's hard to trigger. So if we're playing arcane intellect in some mage decks anyways, this is that with an added bonus. I could see potentially adding this to Odd Demon Hunter because of the cost and because of the draw. I think as an aggro deck, like you want to be drawing cards. So I scored this a 3. I think it's playable. I don't know how good it will be, but I think it warrants testing. I doubt that it will be easy to trigger the ability, but still a 3-mana draw 2 is average. And in an aggro deck, you want to be drawing cards. That's my thoughts. Mike, what about you?
All right, so this is the first Demon Hunter card I saw going down the list that I placed at a 3. I think for me, I seem to find it easy to trigger this because at least in like the initial testing, we'll have deck tracker open. The players who are paying attention, you can see like what's in your deck, what's left. If you're able to pull this off, how much mana you have. I feel like this card might be better than what I'm rating it now, but I just want to be a chicken and play it safe. Put it at a 3 because I feel like I don't know acrobatics into a couple of 1-cost spells or a couple of 1-cost minions. Maybe if you have more mana, like a 3, but you don't want to play too many 3s. I don't know. I think it's playable. It might move up to a 4, but 3.
I like that because I was on the fence as well, whether to call this a 3 or 4. Just like you, Mike, because Arcane Intellect has always been good. It's a good card. It draws you 2 cards for 3 mana. This does exactly that with a potential for later in the game drawing you more. Like if you've made it, like I know you want to kill your opponent early on, but if you've gone later, there's more of a potential to be able to, dig deeper. Right. So yeah. I am going to be bold and I'm going to go 4 because
okay.
4 is playable in meta decks, correct?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go playable in meta decks.
That's 4. The scoring guideline, right? 4 is. So I think that's what's important to remember. It's very easy when we do these to get sidetracked and say, oh, that card's so cool, I'm going to give it a 5. Oh, that card's like, I don't like it, I'm going to give it a 1. But we remember, like, the scoring is about the playability.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say it's playable in meta decks because no matter what, it'll always get you your 2 cards, no matter what base. And then potentially later on, it can get you something else. Like you could draw into super cheap stuff and you could get more things, or later on, it's just you're digging for something, right?
Acrobatics into acrobatics. How many do you draw? A lot.
Keep drawing. Yeah, I think Those are all really good points. Odd Demon Hunter does have some bigger cards, like obviously Baku, or Glavebound Adept, stuff like that. So I think that this card is definitely playable. I'm not sure whether at the end of the day it'll make the cut in Odd Demon Hunter, just because Odd Demon Hunter doesn't really suffer from draw. However much this could be amazing draw. It's also 3 mana. So, if it was 1, you could at the very least play Baku if you drew him, or play like a Glavebound and a 3 cost to proc the effect. So as such, I want to give it a 4, but I'm brought down from a 4 just to playable, so I'm giving it a 3. But this is a very good card.
Yeah, and I think we're always pleasantly surprised when we're wrong. Like, hey, if the card turns out to be good, like that's good, right? Then we can.
Oh yeah.
So. Yeah. All right. We'll see. Okay. The next one up is Dreadlord's Bite. This is a 3 mana common weapon. It's a 3/2 with Outcast. Deal 1 damage to all enemies. I think that this is basically a better Fiery War Axe because of the Outcast. I could see
exactly what I wrote. Better Fiery War Axe.
Right. I could see it being good against Aggro Druid, because of the Outcast ability to potentially, board clear against Aggro Druid or against Odd Paladin. So I don't know. I guess my question is this better than the existing weapons that we run in Odd Demon Hunter right now? And I think the answer is maybe not. I don't know. I gave it a 3. I think it's playable. I definitely want to test it. I like the Outcast idea against the other, decks at the moment, but I was bordering between a 2 and a 3, honestly. Like, I don't think that this is busted by any means. But in order to not screw up the average too much, I'll give it a 3. I think it's playable. I'm cautiously optimistic, but don't have super high hopes either. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, so I think this slots very nicely into Odd Demon Hunter, with Demon Hunter being new and being like early in its life. I think this is a solid card. I rated it a 3. I think the Outcast dealing at 1 to all enemies is what helped me rate it a 3. If it said like deal 1 to all like minions, then I would have probably dropped like a 2. But like, I think whenever I see a card say all enemies, like it instantly should like get a +1 point no matter what. Like, because face damage, like that's the whole point of the game.
Right.
The first one to bring their opponent to 0 wins.
So this is what made me bump it from a 2 to a 3 was like what you said, all enemies. It's not all minions, it's all enemies. And that the Outcast ability is static. So hypothetically, if I choose not to attack with my weapon, like I just sit the weapon there and have permanent Outcast deal 1 damage to all enemies, like for as long as I have the weapon equipped, because it doesn't change the durability, right? So
Outcast only happens when you play it.
No,
it's kind of like a battle cry in that.
So you would keep it in your hand. Yeah, you would keep it.
So this is a one-time only ability. All right.
Correct.
All right. Well, then, I guess that would be busted, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
All right. It's too early. It's too early for me.
Well, no, your idea still applies, because then you would just keep it in your hand.
Yeah, you can keep it in your hand
position and then drop it.
Well, you keep until you
Leviticus says I like Nate's cards better.
Yeah, I'd score it higher. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, I like how it's a little bit of a play on Death's Bite, is how I feel. Because Death's Bite was an amazing card. This you can time a little bit better when it comes to the damage, right? I mean, Death's Bite also kind of hits your enrage stuff, but this you can play it when you want it to happen. It's not a death rattle, it's basically a battle cry, but it's conditional as well. So I don't think it's a 4. I don't think it's super amazing. I definitely think it's playable, so it's gonna be a 3. Yeah.
What about you, Sheep?
So I'd like to start off by saying that the flavor text for this is amazing.
Oh, what does it say? I haven't looked at any of the flavor text yet.
When it gets too dull, it's more of a nibble.
Damn.
More of a nibble.
Death Lord's Nibble. Oh my god.
So I like this card because it's basically Fiery War Axe with a bonus, but I'm not sure why I would play this over the Lifesteal weapon. If I'm trying to get a whole bunch of outcast stuff or like some sort of outcast deck in the future, then I'm going to want to be playing cheaper stuff. And that's probably going to be more of an aggressive like tempo deck than this one is. I don't think that it's a bad card by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just not sure what I would play it in. So because of that, I went with 2. I think it'll see fringe play. I don't think that it's, completely unplayable for a 1, but I don't think that for me, it's a 3. So for me, it's a 2.
I like that opinion. I mean, I was wavering between a 2 and a 3 on this one. And I think for me, it's like meta dependent, right? Hypothetically, if I'm playing Odd Demon Hunter, which I probably will not, and I'm seeing lots of Odd Paladin, and which you probably will with this new set, and a lot of aggro Druid, it bumps up the likelihood that I would run this, I feel like. But if I'm not seeing that in my meta, then I don't see a good reason to run the card.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. All right.
Yeah, part of this is definitely like a meta prediction, right? So that's kind of
I mean, it really is.
I feel you, man. No, I got my snipers on today. I'm watching everything. After seeing what I rated the broomstick, I'm disappointed. So this time around, no games.
Did we give Penflinger a 1?
I think we rated Penflinger too low last time. Yeah, definitely.
Way too low.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, loser!
I'm proud of that.
He was talking to us.
All right. Next up is Insatiable Fellhound. This is a minion. It is a common demon, 3 mana, 2/5 with taunt, and it has corrupt, gain +1/+1, and lifesteal. I like this card actually. I think that the stat line is good even without the corrupt. A 3 mana, 2/5 taunt. I feel like with the meta being pretty aggressive, that having a taunt, 3 mana, 2/5, like it's got a big butt to stick in Odd Demon Hunter seems pretty good to me. And I also think that it's relatively easy. I don't know, maybe not easy, but it's not super difficult to corrupt. And so having a 3 mana 3/6 with lifesteal seems pretty nice. I think that deck is currently like tier 3, tier 4, but it lines up well in the 3 mana spot. And maybe you can corrupt it, and if you can't, to tempo it out, it still seems okay. So I gave it a 3 playable. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I gave it a 2 because looking at what it's supposed to do is be defensive. So I'm looking at aggro Druid, which builds at best 10 stats on turn 1 if they do it right. Turn 2, I think. So
Embiggen, play a pirate.
Yeah. So yeah, by turn 3, if I get if I coin this out turn 2, it's 2/5 taunt. Turn 3, it's a 2/5 taunt. Like you see where I'm going. So the other aggro deck is discard Dark Glare.
Mm-hmm.
I see this getting down because Dark Glare is waiting. Boom, turn 5, all these giants, Lothab, game over. I'll put this at a 2. Just for where we are right now, I'll put it at a 2.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the similar to what Mike is saying, because while I do understand putting taunts to protect your minions in aggro, like we've seen, like their South Sea Captain, right? Is that the one who's the 3/3?
Yeah.
And then we like Tar Creeper used to get played just to protect your guys that are gonna hit face. But I don't know. I feel like this is fringe playable. Maybe not necessarily we're going to throw it in every Odd Demon Hunter deck. So that for me has to be a 2. Like I don't feel like like if it's corrupt, okay, but like I get the healing and everything, but you know, Demon Hunter, they got healing. I don't think it's that great. So
I struggle to score the Demon Hunter cards because Demon Hunter as a class in Wild kind of sucks. Like, and so I don't know. Like, they're still trying to develop the class, and I don't know.
I'm still not even playing the class. I've barely played it. I played it to complete quests.
Yeah, I got to Legend with it early on before it got nerfed, but it's not very fun anymore.
Oh, when it was super. Oh yeah,
When it
that was
was-
fun.
That would have been a good idea to play it then.
The first hour when it was amazing.
Right.
Sheep, what about you?
So this card has a lot of possibility for the future. You know, it's odd, so odd Demon Hunter is possible. It's good stats for cost before even looking at the corrupted aspect of it, and obviously even better with the corruption and lifesteal aspect that includes. But it's kind of low impact when it's not corrupted. However much I want to like this card, I just don't think that we're going to see it hit Wild too much. I don't think it's unplayable by any stretch of the imagination, so I think I'm going to have to go with the 2 as well.
Yeah, I think you guys are more on the line, honestly. And it's funny because I scored most of this set really low. I think I was a little bit confused with some of the Demon Hunter cards. But yeah, I agree with your assessment there. Yeah. Okay. All right. So collectively a 2.25. That works. All right. Next up is Line Hopper. This is another common minion. It's a 3-mana 3/4. Your outcast cards cost 1 less. So when I first saw this card, I immediately was like, ooh, that's cool. And then I started looking in my collection at the outcast cards that are available. And yeah, exactly. There's especially odd outcast cards. Like there's 2 or 3. So I like this for standard, but there are very few good odd outcast cards. And the only good Demon Hunter deck in Wild is odd. I like the stat line. 3-mana 3/4 seems good. But I don't think that the ability. I just don't think that it's strong enough for Wild. So I scored it a 1. Mike, what about you? You're muted.
Apologies, sorry. I was trying not to be too loud. Yeah, I scored it very low. Outcast cards, odd Demon Hunter, just doesn't mix for me. I'll keep it short. I rated it at 2. Somebody might do it just to have fun on like 1 out of every 15 games. Like here goes that turn, you know. We got a bunch of outcast cards. Double jump, played outcast stuff, but I give it a 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, and so I should have written them down, and I didn't. But what is the one that silences a minion and draws a card? Like, okay, that costs 0 now. Like, oh, that's
magic.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, that's cool, but like, there's no other ones, right? Or very, very few.
It would have to be like this with like Altruist, and then you play all the outcast cards as they're yellow, and it deals 1. Like, well, like I said, 1 out of every 15 games, you'll have that crazy highlight for Twitch. But
right. Like, I mean, this seems okay in standard. If I'm running,
Yeah.
I just put a whole mess of outcast cards into my standard Demon Hunter deck and reduce them all, and get up to some shenanigans with the other cards. But looking at this from a purely Wild perspective, just like,
Here's a question about this card. It says that your outcast cards cost 1 less. Do your outcast cards that you play need to be active? Like, do they need to be on the left or right to get the discount, or can they be in the middle of your hand?
That's honestly the question I have for both this one and Redeemed Pariah. The buff, the one that gets buffed, the 2-mana one that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Because those cards are technically outcast cards, they're just not being outcast, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know,
I don't know.
how it works. So
that's a good question.
I like if they have to be active, like if they have to be playable and get the outcast effect, this is definitely a 1, in my opinion. If they're just in the middle of your hand and it doesn't matter, then it's a little more playable. I give it fringe and give it a 2.
Oh, they said that they have to have the keyword, but they don't have to be in the outcast slot.
Okay, well then I will give it a 2 if that is the case.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, this gets a 2 regardless. It's definitely stronger, not needing the cards to be outcast themselves. They just need to have the keyword on them. So as I said, this is a 2 for me. It's odd, so that's positive. Good stats for cost, good effect, but there are better cards to play, and better archetypes to play. Whenever we kind of hit a critical mass of outcast cards, probably like in a year or two with the set rotation, when they start dumping more outcast cards into standard because they're not felt hamstrung by the ones that they've already put in, we might end up having line hopper see play then, but not yet. So yeah, this is playable, but it's not going to be played. So 2 for me right now.
All right, sounds
Right
good.
on.
All right, next up is let's see here, Relentless Pursuit. This is a 3-mana common spell. Give your hero +4 attack and immune this turn. Okay, I definitely think that this has a home in Odd Demon Hunter. I think the ability to hit for 4+ and not take any damage seems good. This can attack a minion. This can go face. Right. If I'm playing this in Odd, then it's a 3-mana hit for what? 6, right? So I gave it a 3 as playable. I think that in the right deck, this works. Again, I'm hardly a Demon Hunter expert, but I think that there's potential here. What about you, Mike?
All right, so I like this card a lot. I was thinking maybe it could be combined with like get some lifesteal, and then you're gonna be immune. You got a bigger attack. Maybe you got to take something down. Go trade. So I gave it a 3, based on it being an odd card, and it gives your hero +4 attack. I'll give it a 3.
Take no damage, can take out a minion, can go face. Slaviticus in chat says 4-mana fireball. Seems okay.
Yeah, it's quite versatile. It can do many things. It can, if there's something on the board that you need to get through, like a big taunt, you can play this and you could power through it with, even if it has whatever you're killing has a lot of attack. Obviously, you don't take the damage. I think it's a really good card. It's definitely playable. I'm also not a Demon Hunter expert, so I don't know if it's going to be in every single meta deck, but I will give it a 3 as being a playable odd Demon Hunter card.
So for me, I look at Odd Demon Hunter, and it's fairly refined. Twin Slice is basically this, just without the immune effect. I think this is just a little bit too clunky. I'm not really too worried about the immune effect whenever I'm playing Odd Demon Hunter, because I'm hitting him in the face. And if I'm losing on board, then I would lose whether I get to attack a minion for 4 or 6. And I just think that with the mana cost, it's just not quite versatile enough for the current cards that Demon Hunter has. So I think this is actually a 1 for me. But I see where y'all are coming from with the 3.
I like the different perspective though, because some of these, like, I feel like, oh, maybe I scored this too high, and I agree with you. Even in the Odd Demon Hunter right now, it feels fairly refined. Like, it's new, so cards can easily be swapped out. But but like, what would I pull out that costs 3 to put this in? I remember when I was playing it, the 3-mana slot was a little bit weird. We were playing like, what is it, the Silithid Swarmer, or you're playing like the Vulpera, or there's some weird stuff. So like, I don't know if that slot is settled, but at the same time, I don't know. But I agree with you. I mean, I like seeing the counter argument to this. So
yeah, I mean, it could very well become a stronger card. I just don't think it is currently.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. Okay. Yeah. And just a reminder, the Demon Hunter class, because it's new, got more cards than all of the other classes. What is it? 5 extra cards. So there's that. It's interesting. What one less rare, one extra epic. It's kind of interesting. Anyways,
More dust.
Sure enough.
next up is Renowned Performer. It's another common minion. It's a 4-mana 3/3 with Rush, and it has Death Rattle. Summon 2 1/1 assistants with Taunt. Okay, so I really like the card for Standard, but I don't think that this fits into any existing Wild deck, and I don't see it in any new ones either, unfortunately. Like, the ability seems cool, but I just, it's trying to do so much stuff in one card. I don't know. I gave it a 1, and I feel a little bit bad giving it a 1, but like, I just don't see what I would put it in, especially as an even cost card. Like, I just think it's a 1. Mike, what about you?
Sorry, apologies. I muted myself because somebody was mowing the lawn. I've never heard them you know what I'm saying? Never heard them do it in like 4 months, but it's all good. So, yeah, I don't see this going anywhere. I'll be quick. I give it a 1.
Yeah, sounds good. It's even costed. It's a really cool effect. You know, it's not a bad card, but it doesn't slot in any deck right now. So that's under the definition of unplayable, which is a 1.
It'll go in your Death Rattle Demon Hunter deck.
Yeah.
Okay, so hear me out. The flavor of this card is amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
Right? The flavor text is cutting the assistant in half is the easy part. This card is amazing.
It goes well with this art. So
Absolutely. The art's incredible. This is a 1-cost card, but I love it.
Oh no, it's so good. And think of the assistant as a 2/2, and it's now become 2 1/1s.
Exactly.
Yeah, the
Well,
flavors.
Each of the 1/1s that it calls creates are called performers assistants too. I wish that one was the top half and one was the bottom. That would be incredible.
yeah.
Oh, too good. All right.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, next up, we get into the rares. So this is called Throw Glaive. It is a 1-mana spell. Deal 2 damage to a minion. If it dies, add a temporary copy of this card to your hand. So it has Echo, but only if the minion dies when you use it. I really like this card, actually. I think, so it basically has Echo, and it could be used to clear the board against decks like Aggro Druid, Pirate Warrior, Kingsbane Rogue, Odd Paladin. I think that I would like to try it. Again, a lot of these require testing. They're so new and there's nothing quite like this. But the one cost seems pretty good to me. Now you're a little bit in trouble. It reminds me a tiny little bit of Defile, just in that if your opponent's going to have to play around this, and if their minions are statted in a way that they can't die to 2 damage, you can't replay it. But with a lot of the aggro decks being pretty low to the ground, I could see this becoming a staple pretty quickly. I gave it a 3. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I like this card a lot. The only time I see it not working is if like Aggro Druid gets that crazy turn and they're all beefed up. Outside of that, it's gonna take down those odd rogue minions. I know there's Hench Clan Thug comes out as a 3 into a 4. You can work around that, but I give this card a 3. I like it a lot.
I like it too. I like that you can set it up just like you plan out your Defile turns. You have access to your hero power to be able to knock something down a peg. So now that you can start going off with this and kill what you want, you can even make, sounds a little strange as Odd Demon Hunter, but a trade if you need to. But I think it's a pretty good card. You can set it up. It could possibly just, I feel like someone's gonna play this against me and destroy my whole board, and I'm gonna like walk away from my computer for a bit. So yeah, I think it's definitely playable. I don't want to give it a 4 because we are wanting to be aggressive, but it's a great tool, so I'm going to say it's a 3.
Yeah, I wish that this was more proactive,
Yeah.
but it's still amazing. I mean, it's playable in Odd Demon Hunter and pretty much anything else. It is a buff to Wand Maker. It doesn't really do what Odd Demon Hunter wants to do. So, like you were saying, Hydra, I don't think I can quite give it a 4. I keep on oscillating between like 2, 4, 2, 4. So I think I have to give it a 3 because it's such a powerful effect, even if it's like not what Odd Demon Hunter's trying to do. It with the token decks and swarm decks that we're seeing, like even just as a one of, I think it actually like just finds a home somewhere. So I don't think it's going to be like a staple of the meta or like in meta decks, but it's definitely playable.
Yeah, and I think in some of these, right? Oh, go for it, Mike.
Oh, real quick, especially when you catch a bad player slipping and they leave their pen flinger on the board, hit him with this.
Oh yeah. Hey, loser.
Oh, that's great. No, but right. So a lot of, I think some of the weakness of Odd Demon Hunter or Demon Hunter in general, a lot of the minions have 2 health.
Mm-hmm.
But like you have to, if your board gets cleared, like you're kind of screwed. And so, but you don't want to trade. So for you keep your minions going face while you use the spells to clear the board. It seems okay. I mean, I think it requires a lot of testing. And I think unfortunately Demon Hunter is a long way to being a top tier deck in Wild, you know, but a 7 mana worse consecration. Oh my god, yeah, that's
It's so true though.
that's true. That's true. Unfortunately, I do think that it's relatively versatile.
Yeah,
but we'll see. All right, let's just move on. Oh, that's funny though. Okay, the next up is the bearded lady. I mean, the bladed lady. I swear that's what they were doing here. Okay,
you're right.
this is another rare. This is a 6 mana 6/6 demon with rush. It costs 1 if your hero has 6 or more attack. Now, I think in standard this card is freaking awesome. The only reason I don't see it being played so much in Wild is because it's even cost. But like, dude, how easy would it be with Twin Slice, like to get 6 attack and then play this for 1?
Oh yeah.
Like I almost feel like it's busted, but I see it's very difficult to play in Wild because it ruins your deck synergy if you plop it into an odd deck. So that requires you to play like Big Demon Hunter or Control Demon Hunter, which typically is not using a bunch of spells to make your hero attack for 6 or more. And so I just don't think it slots in. I think that someone will find some creative way to like break it. Maybe in a Soul Fragment deck. I mean, I think anything that costs 1 mana is good. But I find it very difficult to play. So I scored it a 2. I mean, I think that it'll fit in somewhere, and I think in time, like you give it a year or 2, and this card will be busted. But right now I find it very difficult to play in Wild. If I was scoring for standard, I would score it higher. But right now I give it a 2.
So I think it'll take some time. Man, this person out here, sorry. It'll take some time, probably another expansion. And obviously a lot of work. But I think this card, I think it's a monster. I think Soul Demon Hunter needs to find, more refinement in Wild. I know it's not really a thing yet, but I feel like it can be. Because paying 1 mana for Rush and it's 6/6, like that's way too good. And then there's a 4 mana spell in Demon Hunter class that lets you copy a demon, I believe. So like with some, with some work, you could copy this card, and they have 2/6/6s. I feel like in a lot of gameplay states, that's very effective. Obviously against Reno Priest, it's not, and then against like Dark Lair, you probably wouldn't get there. But I like this card. I'm gonna.
Oh,
Oh
Mike.
no.
The lawnmower got him.
The lawnmower. He drove over the cable line for the internet.
The bladed lady went to his internet cord and was like, nope.
Uh-oh. Oh, he's back. All right. We
there you are.
thought the lawnmower got you. I'm glad you're okay.
You have to unmute.
Yeah, I'm not
There
sure
you
what
go.
happened.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good.
We
So
thought the
you're about to tell us
lawnmower
the
guy the lawnmower guy drove over your cable line for your internet.
Oh yeah, we cut the wire.
So I cut you off right before you were going to tell us a number. So you're going to give Bladed Lady a...
Oh, based on the deck not being up higher up in the tiers, I'm giving this card a 2 for now.
Cool.
I also gave this card a 2. I think it's potentially broken, but we don't. Demon Hunter is too young of a class. There's stuff in the future, most likely, where we're gonna probably hate this card. Like 1 mana 6/6s with rush is insane, but it doesn't go in any deck that we have. So it may see some fringe play with people playing around with it. Maybe Labore Sangre will do something weird, but it's a 2.
Hi, what about you? I mean, sheep. Sorry.
Sheepy.
So I like to think that this is only not a bearded lady because she took the blade and
She shaved.
And she shaved
gave
with
it a
it.
shave.
That's what happened.
Exactly.
I like it.
Maybe that's in the flavor text.
Unfortunately, it's not. I looked. I'm just not sure. Like, this is a really strong card. And if we were looking at standard, this would be like a 3-4 easy. I just think it's too slow in wild because the things that we want to do with it right now, with the cards that we have in wild right now, we're not going to be able to buff it without like 2 different cards, like the 3 mana one that we looked at today, or Twin Slice. Since we don't have the 2 man or the 2 attack hero power, now we have to use at least 2 cards to kind of get us there. I think this will be strong whenever we see more Demon Hunter cards, but I kind of think right now in Wild this is unplayable for me. So I think I'm going to have to give it a 1, with the full acknowledgement that in the future this card's going to be like a 4 or a 5. But right now, for me, it's a 1, unfortunately.
I agree, and I feel bad about it because the potential is there. And if I was scoring for standard, I swear I would give it higher because I think this will be pretty gross in standard.
Hard agree.
But in wild, just nah. Okay, let's move on then. Next up then, let me move this down. We get into our epics. So the first one up is a 3 mana 4/3 elemental called Fellsteel Executioner with Corrupt become a weapon. So it's an interesting card, and I think that this is kind of a neat idea. It pairs well with the last card, and I think it'll be good in standard. Essentially, I think the idea, right, is to buff this card, make a giant weapon, and then play Bladed Lady, for 1. But I don't think that this sees play in wild. Like, I don't think that this is better than any of my current 3-drops in Odd Demon Hunter. It has the elemental tag, which is cute, but I don't think that really matters at the moment. And like, what's the like? I'd rather have the minion than the weapon, right? I don't know. I don't understand. Is the weapon different? Is the weapon a 4/3 weapon? Unless you buffed it, I suppose.
I do not know. I don't know how this works.
It becomes a Fellsteel Executioner, which is a 4/3 weapon. But of course, if it's been buffed, then
it would keep
has
the buffs, right?
Correct.
So hand buff Demon Hunter elemental weapon. Yes, I gave it a 1. I'd rather play a Hench Clan Thug. So,
Interesting.
Mike, what about you?
All right, for me, I gave this card a 3. I see it as like a neutral positive. You either get this 4/3. If the 4 gets the attack off, you got 4 damage in. But I think the intention with this card is like close to like late game, not like long games, but like when you're trying to like close the game out, and you need some reach instead of just like minions being placed down and then waiting the next turn to attack. My thought is like I'm wondering when you corrupt cards, can your opponent tell? Like, is there some kind of like mist or color?
No. Mm-mm.
They can't tell at all.
Mm-mm.
So I think it's cool because then you can like set people up, kind of like rogue play, where like you don't show them you'll have lethal, but like you have it. So like I don't know. I think it's like sneaky good. So I'll give it a 3.
Let me ask a question real quick. Why? What? I don't know. What is the difference of playing like if corrupt can only happen when it's in your hand, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Like if I could play this on the board, attack with it, and then corrupt it and turn it into a weapon, that would be dope. But
Right.
like if it had rush and then you could, corrupt it and turn it into a weapon and I could swing twice with it, like that'd be bananas, right? But and I think that the flavor is super cool, but there's just so many better cards in the 3 spot. Anyways, okay, Hydra, what about you?
Yeah, I can see where Mike is coming from on this, but I'm going to go with my initial reaction where I wrote odd, but then I wrote, what the heck? If I want a weapon, I would just put it in the list.
Ding,
and I gave it a 1. That is what I wrote last night. So I'm going to go with my gut. So I see that it's versatile and you could attempt to pick whether or not, but at the same time, you may be forced to turn this into a weapon when you don't like want to.
Oh,
so yeah.
What about
what I
that?
mean?
Yeah. What if what if you didn't want the weapon and then you accidentally turned it into a weapon?
So why not play the minion first?
It depends on when you draw it.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Like you could draw it late. Like I don't know. It seems weird and clunky to me. I'm gonna go with my gut on the 1 on this one. I could be completely wrong, but
I do like, so in the last set in Scholomance, we really saw a whole lot of them trying new things with their card design philosophies. And so the idea of a card that transforms into something different,
So creative.
super cool idea.
Oh yeah.
I think it's awesome.
I don't think the execution is quite there, but like, I don't know, the idea is pretty awesome in my mind. I think that's pretty sweet concept.
All the
anyways.
cards that transform into something else that we've had in the past, I feel like this one we haven't been able to play it yet. So along with what I'm saying, people in chat saying it's not playable, no one knows we haven't played it yet. So let's chill with all the negative. But I think it's cool.
Chat, oh my god.
Yeah,
Vicuna,
because
what if I told you this card makes regular cash donations to a children's hospital? We'd score it a little bit higher.
Scored a little higher.
Yeah, I mean, if we were looking at standard, I think this is just too slow for wild under the current thing. So I'm giving it a 1 for our review. Standard, we have ways to activate Bearded Lady. We have ways to make like some sort of a weapon demon hunter thing work. But I think it's just too slow for our purposes. The flavor text is my mom said I could be anything that I want.
I like it.
Which is amazing. The flavor of this card is on point. I love how creative it is.
I thought it was
we're not going to see it in wild.
I first saw it, I got all excited. I thought it was a Jade card.
Oh, it looks like one too.
I know. It's all good. All right, let's see what's up next. We have the Stilt Stepper. It is a 3-mana 4/1 epic with a battle cry. Draw a card. If you play it this turn, give your hero +4 attack this turn. Again, this is an interesting card. It almost reminds me of the Renowned Performer a little bit, where they're really trying to do a lot in one card.
Mm-hmm.
The ability is very neat. It's cool, right? But the ability, the low health kind of sucks, and you've got to have a lot of mana in order to play it. I think that this is a nice top deck late game, but it sucks on turn 3, and it's not good enough for Odd Demon Hunter, so I gave it a 1. I felt a little bit bad giving it a 1, but like I don't see how. Like, I can't drop this on turn 3. It just doesn't work. It's turn 3, 4-1 draw a card, but it's so easy to kill that, like, I was really trying to find a way to make it work. And someone will make it work, but, like, I just don't see it in Wild. I gave it a 1.
All right, I messed up. The card earlier, that's 3 mana.
Was this the one that you scored a 5? Sorry, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
No, it's not even close. That card is going to be really good. But no, there was a spell earlier I rated a 3. It does +4 attack immune.
Yeah.
I was thinking of this card. So I messed up on that rating.
Oh.
This one right here, because I don't care about the health on this. The one earlier, like when you go immune, like the idea there is to trade, which isn't what Demon Hunter wants to do. This card draws you a card. Can play it in the same turn and gives you +4 attack. I can see that card being Twin Slice or something else that adds attack or anything Odd Demon Hunter is doing. Consume magic to silence a taunt in front of you. I like this card a lot. I wanted to give it like a 4.
Whoa.
All right.
Yeah,
I'd love to see the, the difference there. Right. That's pretty cool. I did not rate it quite as high. The way I look at it is I cannot play this card on curve. Like, yes, you get the battle cry, draw a card, but then it's got the 1 health, so it's basically dead. It would be really, really cool to be able to play this later in the game. I want to play fast as Odd Demon Hunter, and I want to play cards on curve. I can't play this on curve, so it's fringe for me, so I give it a 2.
Yeah, I'm completely there with you. I think that you might see some fringe play in Odd Demon Hunter for this because you're drawing, period. That's always good. You may even get the effect of getting 4 attack this turn. That's also good. And then you stick a 4/1 body, low impact, but still playable. So for me, this is a 2. Like it'll see some fringe play just because it's draw and possibly also get the +4 attack, but you're not dropping it on curve. You're not being as efficient with your resources as you'd like to be for Odd Demon Hunter. So I don't think that it's going to see mainstream play, but I can see some fringe play with it. So I'm right there with you, Hydra. That for me, this is a 2.
I wish that they swapped the stats, right? If it was a 1/4, if it was a 3 mana 1/4, like
or even a 3/2, like
I don't know,
that would fit in with the Demon Hunter, like everything having 2 health.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on then. All right. Next up is Expendable Performers. This is a 7 mana epic spell. Summon 7/1/1 Illidari with Rush. If they all die this turn, summon 7 more. So we talked about this on the show, I don't know, a week or 2 ago. I remember Celestion making a comment on Twitter about this card that it will summon up to 7 based on how many slots you have free on your board. And however many you summon, they have to die in order to summon up to 7 more, depending on how much space you have. But like, so at its very best with a clear board, it's a 7 mana, like 14 worth of stats, but it seems like, yeah, basically a bad flame strike. I could see some potential wombo combo here if you have that, what is it, that 3/1 Naga or whatever that like does damage to random enemy every time one of your things dies. But like at 7 cost, like there is no way in God's green earth I'm putting this in my Odd Demon Hunter deck, because at 7 mana is the absolute top of my deck there.
Except for Baku.
The mana cost is so high. And if I'm really going to play something for 7 cost, it's going to be something better than this. Can you imagine late game you top deck this? Like, oh, I lost. Or I'd rather play something much different. So, anyways, I gave it a 1.
I gave this card 100, as in 100 dust. So I'll pass to Hydra.
I like that. I gave this a hard one instantly. Basically, as Odd Demon Hunter, if have made it to turn 7, I would like my top end 7 mana card, if I have one, to do something really devastating to their face, not to be trading. So
Yeah.
It's just a 1, and no Blood Herald is way too slow. I don't feel like anybody's doing that. So
Yeah.
pass it off to you, Sheep.
So the flavor text of this is when someone gets injured, it's considered performance art. Brilliant. But this is way too expensive. It's a 1 for me as well.
The flavor is so good. Just the idea, the name, expendable performers, they're up doing like a tightrope act. And like the idea that like they just die and like, oh, well, they were expendable. Right? I mean,
It's perfect. And if they all die, we get some more.
They should be wearing red shirts.
Yes.
Oh man, it's so funny. All right. So next one up is the first legendary. This is Ilginoth. It is a 4 mana 2/6, not a demon, which I think is interesting. With lifesteal, and says that maybe it's a mistake. I don't know. It says lifesteal. Your lifesteal damages the enemy hero instead of healing you. This card, is super dope. The idea of it, anyways.
Yeah.
Now, I think that in standard there will be some kind of OTK. There will be some, or if not, then very close to it, right? I can get a lifesteal weapon. I can buff the crap out of it. I can play a free bearded lady, and then I can hit you in the face for lots and lots of damage. Like, right, you hit with your weapon plus the lifesteal would damage them on top of it. The problem is in Wild, like, I just don't see it, right? I think with this card, this is like a build around card, right? Like if you want to build your deck around this and have some kind of either OTK potential or giant burst damage potential, the idea seems super fun to me, and I can't wait to watch Clark Hellscream or Swagwar or somebody make a crazy video doing an OTK with this card. But for competitive play, I just don't see it. Not to mention it costs 4 mana and it's not a demon. So I gave it a 1. I feel a little bit sad about that, but that's what I gave it. Mike, what about you?
All right, so yeah, I'll be keeping my eye on Draco Cat, because Draco Cat got I think 1,000 Demon Hunter wins in like, I don't know, 3 days when it first came out. Like all he plays is Demon Hunter. He made a list, and I'm glad we're doing Demon Hunter first, because it is pretty much standard. Like there's no wild Demon Hunter cards, so I feel like whatever deck is built for this there will be played in wild, just like Soul Demon Hunter. And I feel like this card slots right in, because there's a combo with Eldrachi Warblades, the 3 mana weapon, gives you lifesteal.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a combo where you can build that weapon up to, I want to say, 12 to 16 attack. And if you get yourself in a position as a skilled player, your opponent is near, I don't know, 24 to 18 life, you get this minion down in that turn. Like that 12 damage is 24. That 16 damage is 32, right?
That sounds pretty crazy.
Like, I know it's a new card, and I know people are scared of change, but but like, it is cool to see new stuff and think of new possibilities. Like, things are possible.
Yeah. No, I like that. And we shouldn't always, I mean, like, we tend to look at Demon Hunter in this little bubble of always being an odd Demon Hunter, like at all times, kind of, because that's sort of what the meta deck is right now. But it's neat to look at, what is possible in the future. And we need to be a little open-minded, I suppose. But I just want to point out, Goliath said in chat, it's not a demon because it's an old god minion, which is completely different kind of evil cosmic being.
Of course,
There it
of course
is.
it is. Of course.
So
and look at the eye on it. It's definitely old god. Yeah.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
yeah. So Goliath with the quick answer there on the question.
Love it.
Oh
So-
yeah, I see the eye on it. I never noticed before.
Yeah. And before Goliath mentioned that, I hadn't either.
I want there to be more than just odd Demon Hunter decks in Wild. It seems to be the thing that's kind of what we're stuck with right now. I'm really looking forward to the future where there's more and we can do stuff like this. If we're gonna go with some combos like Mike is talking about, then like hell yeah, let's give it a shot. I'd like that. So I'm gonna call this a 2. Not because it's bad, but because the rating system says it's fringe playable. And right now in Wild, that would be fringe playable. So I'm going to give it a 2. I think it's a really cool card. And hopefully it can make a new archetype and we can, have something else other than odd Demon Hunter. How about you, Sheep?
Yeah, two for me as well. If I didn't say it before, sorry.
All right.
Because fringe. So it'll be a target for Dirty Rat. You know what I'm saying?
This is the type of card
There
that
you go.
someone kills you with, and you're not mad about it, right? Because you're
Right.
like, wow,
Yeah, you're
you
like-
did that.
That was sweet. Cool.
Yeah. So Mike was mentioning Draco Cat earlier, and here's where I was going to mention him as well, because Draco has this amazing, he calls it Hyperdonk. It's pretty much Soul Demon Hunter, except it also has Bran. So things like the Slappy, the Lapidary, eats up 2 soul fragments, but then gives you 10 attack. Insane. Il'gynoth, however, is itself 4 mana. So that means that you already have to have the Eldraki Warblades. You already have to have Bran on board in order to drop Il'gynoth and the Slappy in the same turn. And the Bran isn't going to live, unfortunately. That said, it still has, I think, exactly like what you're saying. It's an interesting effect. Could maybe build an archetype around it, and or, piggyback off of the Soul Shard archetype. Is it that impactful in Wild? I'm not sure. So I think that there will be some fringe play. So I'm going to give it a 2 as well. But the possibilities for this card to be just bonkers are there. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I can't wait to see it in gold. Like, it's beautiful. I think it's super cool, the idea. Yeah, I don't know. The idea of it is super cool. I guess we'll see. All right, here's one more legendary for us to look at. The last one for the Demon Hunter class. This is Zai the Incredible. It's a 5-mana 5/5 with Battlecry. Copy the left and rightmost cards in your hand. I think that this idea is super cool in almost any deck, the Battlecry. I think a lot of times, depending on where this lands in your card or in your hand, it almost reminds me of Outcast a little bit. That like, if I'm playing stuff and this is now the most left hand card in my hand, like the Battlecry gets diluted a little bit, right? Like I'll play this and it's only going to copy unless it. I guess the question is, when I play it, does it copy? I guess it's what's now left in my hand, right? What would be the farthest left and farthest right? I don't know. I mean, I struggle with it a little bit. Like, I think that there's potential here. I think the Battlecry is awesome. What if I'm sitting on like a Twin Slice and whatever else? I don't know. I mean, getting extra copies of stuff seems good. I like that it's an odd cost. It feels a little bit awkward for me. The low health kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I think maybe better in some kind of control shell, but I think that there's definitely potential here for some cool shenanigans. I gave it a 2 because I think it'll see fringe play. I think maybe over time, like if I had this in Warlock, for example, or some other class, like there's some crazy things you can do with it, right? And maybe the Demon Hunter is just too new to abuse it to its fullest potential. I hope that someone proves me wrong, and that the card is super awesome, but I gave it a 2. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I think it's a cool card. I like the ability. I'm not too worried about the stats. Even though I wish it did have more health. I think it's a 3 because like you could potentially get some crazy combos off of it depending on what's in your hand. But one thing that made me think of giving it a higher score, because maybe the deck isn't here yet, but the 6/6 rush. Let's just say you happen to have one in your left side or your right side, or both at the same time. Now you're looking at 4 1-mana 6/6 rushes that you could potentially make. But I give the card a 3 because I just think anything that makes value is a good thing. So I'll roll with it.
Yeah. I wish, honestly, I wish it was like a 3-mana 3/3.
Oh yeah.
Or a 3-mana 2/3
yeah.
even.
Yeah.
But with the effect is super cool. The battle cry is awesome. I just don't like the stat line. But I think that there's some wombo combos potential here. Hydra, what do you think?
I really think it's neat. I don't like it because like I gave it a 1. Like I think it's cool, right? There's definite possibilities, but hear me out. Copy the left and most right cards in your hand. Okay. Like it's not like we can shuffle our hands around, right? Like to get whatever you're planning here, like say there is some wombo combo where you need to draw this specific card and you need to manipulate its way all the way over to the left, and then you need to top deck something else to be able to do this. It just sounds like it's asking a lot, unless you're just doing this because you have a bunch of stuff in your deck that is really cool to copy. It just seems like it's asking so much for you to be able to do it correctly if you've got a specific thing in mind. And it doesn't slot into any deck right now, like at all.
It's pretty RNG reliant. Like there's no way to guarantee, right? Like we always say that like tutor cards are broken. Like if I can guarantee, that's why Polkelt is so good, right? Or something. But okay, cool. Like it's a value generator. Like if I draw this late game, oh cool, now I got extra copies of cards. Like that's beneficial. But
yeah, like if I've been say there's like a Reno Demon Hunter and you're holding your Reno in your left hand the whole time, and it's like, okay, sure,
Perfect.
Yeah, but
I can copy Renos now.
What are the chances, right?
Right.
And that's kind of my, I don't know, that's kind of my thing with Ilginoth as well. Is like, hey, cool, you can build your deck around this card, but like even then, you have to draw it, right? And how you tutor it out. So, anyways,
Yeah.
what? Sorry, what was your score on that one?
1.
Okay. All right. What about you, Sheep?
It's a super powerful effect. But it's so expensive, and the body that it gives you. If it was a 5/5, then I'd feel okay about it.
Yeah.
Even if it's just taking combo possibilities out of it, just duplicating resources in general is strong, right? If I get an extra twin slice and an extra glaive-bound adept, cool, like that's great. I don't want to pay 5 mana to do it though. Especially if it's only attached to a 5/3 body. I think this effect is too powerful for me to, in good faith, give it a 1. But I think it's too expensive for too, aggressively statted, but, aggressively statted for like a 3-drop. I think I have to give it a 2. The effect is powerful. The flavor text is great. Following this act will be her younger brother, Frank the Mediocre. Hilarious. But yeah, for me, this is a 2.
That's funny. All right, that wraps it up for us for Demon Hunter. What do we get? So will this show us the class? Oh no, it's not on this. Okay, never mind. We'll look at that later. All right. Okay, so next up we have Druid. So let me put these cards away and bring up our Druid stuff here. Okay, so the first card up is Lunar Eclipse. Oops.
And on average, we gave it a 1.92.
That last one.
The Demon Hunter as a whole.
Oh, Demon Hunter
Sounds about right.
1.92. See, you know what? I want to say something about the Demon Hunter class here in the cards we got. I feel like they can tell Demon Hunter is very aggressive, especially in Wild. It's very aggressive, and I like I would be like, would you be happy if all these cards were a 4 or a 5? I think I'd be mad, right? Like if they were all something that's going to slot right into Odd Demon Hunter, and like I'm actually glad that these are all 2s basically, because I feel like it would just be a little bit too much. So it's good, and they're trying to build other archetypes within the class. So
Yeah, we're getting there.
I'm satisfied with it, even though I've rated it very low.
Hard agree to all
You have
of
a
the
good point
above.
there, because time heals all wounds. So they're trying to help people forget about what happened in April.
I think you hit the nail on the head there.
Crazy.
That's
That was
funny.
crazy.
All right. Let's okay, here we go. So the first Druid card that we have up is Lunar Eclipse. This is a 2-mana common spell. Deal 3 damage to a minion. Your next spell this turn costs 2 less. So I think that this card is awesome. 3 damage for 2, plus reduce a spell by 2, even though it's this turn only. I think that this is better than Serpentshire Portal, which Shaman spell, but still. And I could see this being run in Aggro Druid. I could see it being run in a lot of different things. It's very versatile. And to reduce a spell by 2 is pretty dope. I gave this a 4. I think that I don't think that it's like broken, but I think that it's not too, like, it's pretty close, and I think that this will definitely be run in pretty much all of the meta decks, and so I scored it a 4. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, actually, I was trying to decide if I want to rate this one higher than the next one, the other copy of this card. I'm not sure why. I wish I had a reason why, because we're doing a review show. People will listen to this, but just looking at it, the second half of this card, I think I want to rate it a 4.
There's a lot of potential here. I mean, I got to test play it, right? But like,
good.
No, I mean, just the idea. 3 damage for 2 is good on its own. Now it can't go face; it's minion only. But to get it's almost like a choose one, but you get both. I don't know. It seems pretty versatile to me, and if I have to tempo this out on 2, like, I would do it. But
this is the reward for playing that 4-mana minion, right?
Yeah. Kiri Chosen a Balloon.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of the 2 Druid decks in the top 4 tiers, Mali, Druid, and Aggro Druid. If I put this in Mali, I guess I'm not doing, like, I'm not sure what I'm taking out. So I guess this have to be like a different kind of deck. I'll pass the Hydra. I'll give it like the rating I gave it, but I'll pass the Hydra. So let's keep going.
Yeah. It's definitely hard to tell right now, but all I know, because like I want to play with it. All I know is whenever Druid gets something that says reduce the cost of your spells, it seems like it's broken, right?
Yeah.
So this, and combined with the next card, I feel like somebody's going to break it. It like Nate said, if you need to tempo this out, it's completely fine. It's the next spell you cost this turn, so unfortunately it doesn't carry over. But that's still okay. Maybe you really need to remove something. I know nobody plays Flappy Bird, but if I needed to kill Flappy Bird, I would use this on it. Right? Like there's certain things that maybe you really, really need to get rid of so you can play it.
Here, you put this in Double Yogg Druid. There you go.
Oh, there you go. Your next
welcome.
mana costs 2.
Okay, yeah, here we go. Yeah.
But there's going to be some combos out there, you Druid lovers, that I'm just going to look at your YouTube video and then I'm going to go play it. Because this is a bit of a big brain card, I feel like, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to doubt it, and I'm gonna give it a 4. I wrote my note was I'm scared.
Oh my god.
All right, so for me, this one's really hard to assess. It's really powerful. Discounting something, single target removal. I think where we're going to see play is a Kel'Thas, Survival of the Fittest, and UI type deck, right? Because you get to discount something, you get one tick towards completion, towards the 3 for Kel'Thas, and then you can play Survival of the Fittest as your kind of like big payoff card, right?
Mm.
So I think that's where this is going to see play. I'm just not sure if that's going to be a meta deck, because it is pretty big brain. Like it's gonna take getting to turn 10 essentially to actually you play Kel'Thas or 10 mana. That's very different from turn 10 for Druid.
Yes.
Point of clarification there. But you play Kel'Thas, you play this, you play the discounted next thing, which if you get the nuts is Solar Eclipse, which we'll talk about after that. And then you play Survival of the Fittest. Insane. But you have to get to 10 mana first. So I'm not sure if I can give it a 4. I'm not sure if I can only give it a 3 though.
Three still seems okay. It's not a bad card by any stretch, right? Like it's playable.
I mean, it's not only playable though. I think that even though it is big brain, I have to give it a 4 because that's going to be a meta deck. It'll definitely see play in a meta deck, so that's definitely a 4. Honestly, at this point, I think I'm convincing myself either 4 or 5, so I'm going to go with a 4.
I mean, if Concerned Mom is playing it at Legend, it'll be meta.
Yeah. And he will definitely be playing it. It's going to be bonkers.
Yeah. Okay, well, the next one up goes hand in hand with this. So we have Solar Eclipse with this, which is another common. By the way, these 2 cards are going to look so nice in gold. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is a 2 mana spell, common spell. Your next spell this turn casts twice. I also scored this a 4. I think it's a brand for spells at 2 mana. I could see using this, like it's so versatile, right? I think that this could go in anything. Like I could put it in Aggro Druid and get my board like buffs twice. I could put it in Ramp and get my Ramp twice. I could put it in Jades and get my Jades twice. Like, can you imagine playing this with Vargoth? Like, there's just some shenanigans, right? Well, no, I guess it does. I guess that doesn't work, right? I guess that doesn't work. But so here's my thought. My only thought is I don't know what to remove from an existing deck to add this, but the ability on it seems really cool. So I don't know. I gave it a 4. I think it's definitely, I agree. Again, it goes in your meta decks. I'm not quite sure where yet. I'm hardly the Druid expert. I feel very confident with the Cabal classes. So I'm not quite sure where this fits, but like when someone plays this against me, I'm going to start swearing. Like that's how I know it's good. Right. Oh yeah. Really good into Savage Roar. There you go. I honestly like where I see this is in like a token deck, where I play this and then do a buff on my whole board, and the buff, I get it twice or something like that, or mana ramp or something like that. So I gave it a 4. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, for me, I feel like this card, this text applies for any and all kind of Druid decks. So I'll give it a 4. But for me, where I want to use it, because I play a lot of Mali Druid, and a situation I find myself in a lot playing Mali Druid is running into aggro decks. So sometimes every single time, I'll need to use the spells intended to go face to clear minions on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see a situation where, I'm setting up that final turn. Avion is coming down. Malygos, the whole gang's here. And then, like if I had, let's say I was maybe out of range just a little bit, and I only had 2 clears, I could play this. So now my one swipe hits twice, you know what I'm saying? Or that one Moonfire hits twice. So that one Moonfire that does 11 now does 22, and then now I can play Swipe in this game.
You just play Solar Eclipse and then Innervate, and then you've got a net 0.
That's
What? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh boy.
I agree. I think your point is good though, right? And especially right if you're playing Mali Druid, a lot of times you're trying to just not die against aggro. So you play this, and you can use one of your like Swipe is a good example. It can clear a board, and maybe you can save your other one for face or whatever. Like this, there's a lot of potential here. It seems versatile to me.
So what number did you give it, Mike?
Mike,
oh, yeah.
what
Mike,
was
what's
your
your
number?
score?
Oh, I gave it a 4.
Cool.
Okay. I'm gonna also give this a 4. And I think there's so much potential. I really like Mike's point about when you're facing aggro, because sometimes you'll have a decision whether or not to, go face or to like clear the board. I know you want to save all your spells for when you have Malagos, but like there may be a situation where, since it casts twice, you could actually go face with a Swipe, and since it casts twice, you could clear the board too, right? So because it's going to cast 2 times.
Oh yeah, that's
right?
true. That's true.
So you could be like, you know what? I'm going to throw this damage face. It's going to cast 2 times, and it'll hit the board twice as well. So I think that's pretty sweet. So I think
with Malagos too. I mean, you could your what is it? The 0 mana spell that does 10 damage with with all your Malagos, all your geese on the board. Like now it does Moonfire. Now it does it
Moonfire
twice instead of once. I don't know. There's potential here.
Yeah, so I think it's a card to be feared. I also wrote the same comment as the last one. I am scared. So it's a 4.
Yeah. For me, this one is really hard to rate. It's amazing. It's an amazing card. It's Bran, but cheaper and for spells. And you only get one proc. I think this is what like Lunar Eclipse like is the real payoff for it, right? Like I was saying earlier with the Kel'Thas buff everything deck, it's going to be definitely played in that. I hadn't thought about like the token decks. I don't know if you want to take up a deck slot with this, but I think that you honestly do, because if you have double buff or double Savage Roar, like that's just amazing. This card's just versatile for multiple different archetypes. Last card, I was debating between 4 or 5. In my notes, I hadn't given this a 5, but I have to give it a 5 here. Like this is going to be meta defining for Druid, I think.
Okay.
I'm on board with that. I could see that. All right, let's talk about some bad cards now.
Oh yeah.
Oh good. I'm not the only one. Okay.
Oh, not at all.
No, that card's going to be very strong for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is Faire Arborist. This is a 3 mana 2/2. Choose one, draw a card, or summon a 2/2 Treant. It has Corrupt. Do both. So this is kind of cute. I think 3 mana 2/2 draw one, 3 mana for 4/4 worth of stats is okay. I don't see Corrupt being super good personally in Wild. I don't know. I mean, we'll talk about it later when we get to the old gods. Now, I think if you're able to play a bunch of Corrupt cards for 0, that's good. But like aside from that, Corrupt encourages slower games, right? It encourages you to keep the cards in your hand for longer. And like, I don't want to do that. I don't think that this card really fits into any existing deck. I don't think that it creates a new deck. And so I give it a 1. I think it's cute. And when I have that quest to use a whole bunch of choose one cards, I'll play this. But like, I don't I'm not quite sure. I mean, I it's a pass for me, so I'm just giving it a 1. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1 as well. I'm not putting this in Mali. I'm not putting this in Aggro Druid. I'll give it a 1.
You put it in your Tree Ant Druid deck.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I'll give it a 0 in that case.
Yeah, I totally also gave this a 1. I'll be quick. I said it's not good enough for like an aggro druid because you want to play on curve. This is something that you want to play off curve to get your corrupt. So it doesn't really make sense to me to run this in any meta deck. So it's a 1.
Yeah. The flavor text for this is the bad apple never falls far from the treant. This is a 1.
The flavor text gets a 4.
Absolutely. Easy 4 for the flavor text, though.
All right. Okay, so we're on to the rares already. So the next one up is Moon Touched Amulet. This is a 3 mana spell. Give your hero +4 attack this turn, corrupt, and gain 6 armor. So this is Feral Rage 2.0, right? It's still not good this time around. Maybe you put it in a meme deck with Gonk, but like, I don't know, right? I'm not sure why you would play this. So when we had Feral Rage, it basically did the same thing, right? It was 4 attack. I think it was 4 mana, gain 4 attack. Was choose one? I think 4 attack or 8 armor, and like we didn't play that at all, and so I don't see this being any better. The art's kind of cool. So I gave it a 1. What about you,
When
Mike?
you started talking about the art, I knew that was a 1.
Yeah, that's how we do.
Yeah, I was leaning into the same direction. Same real price from the last card. Not going in aggro, not going in Mali. So 1.
Yeah,
Cool art.
gave this a hard 1 as well. I just wrote doesn't go into any deck. I don't see a home for this currently or possibly ever.
Gonk Druid.
Gonk maybe. I don't even know if I want to call that fringe. Like
In my notes, I actively put Gonk Druid for the win.
so I'm gonna give it a 1. I personally, no one has ever in Wild killed me with Gonk Druid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've been killed by Gonk Druid once or twice in Wild. It was fun. This is a 1 for me as well.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, happened one time.
Okay, next up is the Umbral Owl. This is a rare beast. It's a 7 mana 4/4 rush. Costs 1 less for each spell you've cast this game. Like, this is fun in a like crazy like Yogg Druid type deck where you're just trying to jam a bunch of spells and do some casino stuff at the end. I think the mana cost is so high because they learned from Corridor Creeper. Right? Mm-hmm. If this had cost 5, it'd be like, ooh, this is great. I'm gonna play my 1 mana 4/4 rush. But at 7, I don't think that I want to play. I think they learned from Corridor Creeper. I think that the mana cost is still too high to see play on this one. Although the rush is good. Evolve Druid. Yeah, there you go. I gave it a 1. I teeter on a 2, but like I don't see myself taking anything out of anything to play this. So I gave it a 1, unfortunately. Mike?
Yeah, I gave it a 1 as well. I think they took this expansion off with Druid cards. So we just got like another Druid card that's a 1. I don't see this going anywhere.
Sweet. I'm glad I'm not alone on this. I looked at it and I just said, I guess this is one of those pack fillers is what I see it as, unless there's something in standard. Like I know you're not supposed to, not supposed to, but you should always fear something that says this costs less if you do this. But this just seems too much. It's 7 mana 4/4. Like the condition seems like a lot. I don't see a deck that I'm going to put this in ever. So that goes as unplayable in Wild to me. So that's a 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like in Yogg Druid, you want to be casting a lot of spells. this is one reward for doing that. But 7 mana is just way too much. Like it's positive that it, keeps guardian animals from pulling it, but you're not playing guardian animals in Yogg Druid anyway. Like you need to play 4 spells for this to actually be, worth playing, at 3 mana for a 4/4 rush. The thing is, 4/4 rush is just inconsequential later in the game. Like it's impactful earlier. It's less impactful later when you can actually get it off. So this is all to say this is a 1. Like I want this to be good so bad, but 7 mana base cost is just way too much.
So
way too much.
So this is like turn 1 you play coin, innervate, and well, I don't know, one more spell, and you can play it on turn 1.
Then you can have
There
a
you
4/4.
go.
You can also just play Millhouse.
Oh, big brain.
Oh my god. All right, let's move on then. The next one up, Fizzy Elemental. This card is very cute. That's a very large firework. It is a 9 mana 10/10 elemental with rush and taunt. It's a big boy, that's for sure. But the mana cost is so high, I'm not sure what this goes in without a reduction. Now, here's my thought where this could work. And I gave it a 2. I think that this works in Hydralisk Druid, and it has synergy with the new N'Zoth because it's an elemental. It has synergy with Hydralisk because it's got taunt. I like the rush. Like this, for me, it's so expensive. I don't see how I could play it. But I think that the rush and the taunt are good. I like the synergy with the new class. Like I've always wanted to make Hydralisk work, and the new N'Zoth. Like, so hear me out here, right? Hydralisk is a beast. This guy is an elemental. The new N'Zoth brings back one of each type, right? So it could bring me back this guy. It could bring me back the Hydralisk. It could bring back something else. But like at 9 mana, like I'm dead by the time I play it, right? So unless that there's a way to reduce it somehow, yeah, I don't know. I love Hydralisk. Hydralisk it will always be a tier 4 deck, unfortunately, unless there's something big changes. But I gave this a 2. I think I put Fringe because like I want to try it. Like I don't think that it's bad, but by the time I've got 9 mana, like it seems a little late. So
It's turn
that's
2,
me.
right?
Turn 2, yeah. If only. If only. Ancestors Call. I just need to Ancestors Call it out. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, that was a joke I was going to make. Unless someone plays Ancestors Call, that's the only way it's going to get out early. I give it like a 1. I don't think it's useful whatsoever. I have no interest whatsoever.
I gave it a 2 because, well, my note says bring back Big Druid is what I wrote. But I didn't notice it was an elemental until Nate said that. So I think that's actually pretty neat. I was just thinking, yeah, as some sort of Big Druid. I did play the Big Druid back in the day when Barnes wasn't nerfed, and it was fun. Now that you're pointing out the elemental and then the beast, I mean, there could probably be like a Deathwing for like a dragon, right?
Sleepy dragon.
Yeah, or like there's a bunch of possibilities there. I was already going to give it a 2 because I figured it was going to see some sort of fringe play in a large minion deck, but with the N'Zoth, that also helps. Probably not going to be meta, so fringe 2 for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of those. I actually, Nate, whenever you're talking, the 2 notes that I have on this are Hydralisk Druid, new N'Zoth Druid. So like both of those elements you already hit. The flavor text is love, hated, carbonated.
That's great.
Fizzy.
The flavor's amazing. Even if it's fizzy going down, this is a 2 for me as well because I think we'll see some fringe play with it, particularly in Hadronox / New N'Zoth Druid. But it won't be meta.
Yeah. I want to like it. It's so cute.
It's adorable.
Right? Yeah, the elemental tag, if it didn't have that, it would lose big points. But like rush and taunt and elemental, like it brought it up to fringe for me. So
If it was a 7 mana 8/8, like same everything else, I think that this would be like a 3. But 9 mana, even at 10/10, it's got to be a 2.
Yeah. All right. Okay, moving on. This is the first epic. This is called Guess the Weight. It's a 2 mana spell. Draw a card. Guess if your next card costs more or less. And if you're right, you draw it. Is that correct? It's the way that it's worded, it sounds a little funky, but so you draw one card, and then you guess if the next one costs more or less, and if you're correct, you draw that one also.
Correct.
So, So 2 mana draw 1 is average, but I imagine in the right deck, like you know what's in your deck, right? So I imagine that you can probably guess correctly more often than you guess incorrectly. I could see this going into a handful of decks, though I'm not sure how good it is. I think that like the flavor is super cool.
Of note, if it's the same mana cost, then you can't get the next card no matter what.
Where I struggle with this is I'm not quite sure like where I put this. I mean, or maybe in some kind of combo deck where I'm just trying to really draw cards. But I don't know. I really struggle with this one between a 2 and a 3. Like, I imagine someone's going to use it and convince me why it's good later. There's probably some big brain thing here. Because, like, 2 mana draw 2 is good. Because normally you pay 3 for that. But what happens when it's 2 mana draw 1? Like, eh. So, I'm giving it a 2. And if someone wants to convince me that I'm wrong, I'd be happy to hear that, but that's a 2 for me.
I give it a 1 because you got to set up Lore Keeper to know what the next cost is going to be. Otherwise, guess, and you're only drawing 2 cards. I think there's better options. So, yeah, I give it a 1.
Okay. I've got a question. Sheep, you just mentioned that if is that hard proven that if the next card is equal?
Yeah, so basically you discover between 2 things, more or less.
Yeah.
And so if it's the same, it's not more or less. So if you're guessing, you're always going to be wrong, even if you know through Lore Keeper what your next card is.
Right.
If it's the same mana cost as the first one that you drew, then you can't successfully guess more or less.
Okay, now going with that, how did Joust work though? When you got a tie with Joust, didn't you win?
No, I don't think you did.
What happened with Joust?
So. I don't think you won.
I think you lost the Joust.
Did you lose it if it was a tie? I can't remember now.
I'm reasonably confident that you lost it.
As long as it works,
as long as it
works the same as Joust, then I'm fine. If it works different than Joust, I'll be upset.
Yeah. Well,
so
this one on the Play Hearthstone like site, they have related cards, and this is what you're discovering, and it's more and less, and like one is weighted one way, one is weighted the other way on like the little dial like fair thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't guess same.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As long as it works the same as Joust, I'm happy. Like I don't like when things work a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
So if it works the exact same, great. I basically what I had made of note here was lists seem to be way too tight and refined to put this into any sort of a deck. The only thing I could think of is if you play Polkelt first, and then you know exactly what you're getting, and you can draw into what you want. But
yeah, there's an achievement for guessing the weight correctly a number of times.
Yeah, so
There you go.
I did see that.
That's
So,
why we're gonna see you play.
if you're running it with Pull Cult, you could just get that achievement done pretty quick, I
There you
suppose,
go.
because you would always know.
No,
So
you see a lot of it in
2 for you.
casual.
I put it as a 2 because I feel like people are gonna play around with it on
and
Fringe, but
yeah, right. If you need a draw engine, like if I'm playing Mechathune, Druid, or I don't know, some combo heavy Druid where I just want to draw my combo as soon as possible, it's a draw card. Although, well, whatever. What do you think, Sheep?
Yeah, I originally had written down in my notes 2, because drawing 1 for 2, drawing 2 for 2, I think that in our discussions, I might have been convinced to go down from a 2 to a 1, specifically for Wild. I think that this might be reasonably strong in Standard, but I think our Wild lists are just too tight. And like a hyper draw, like a Togwaggle or Mechathune deck might run it. Or if you're just trying to get spells comboed for Kel'Thas, you probably want to be playing something cheaper, so you're not playing this anyway. So in Wild, I think this is pretty much actually a 1. It's not an inconsequential card. It's just I think the lists are too tight for 2 mana draw 1. And they might even, you might cut something if it was guaranteed 2 mana draw 2, but the RNG based in that, I think for me has Guess the Weight being a 1 for Wild.
Yeah, I like Ben's comment too. Like, Rising Winds is just better, right? It's a 2 mana draw card or a 3/2. Like, it's more versatile. So yeah, I don't know. I initially, when I at first glance I saw this and I had scored it higher and rethought it and lowered the score. I mean, I agree with what everyone else is saying, really, that like our lists right now are too refined, and if I want to do something like this, then I like the versatility. So Rising Winds, I have 2 options, or Wrath, I've got 2 options. Like I could draw a card for 2 and do a damage, or do 3 damage, like whatever I want. And so there's better options available to us than this.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on then. The next one up is another epic. I imagine the flavor text is good on this one. This is an 8 mana spell called Cenarian Ward. Gain 8 armor, summon a random 8 cost minion. I scored this a 1. It costs a lot. There are a lot better ways to get armor in Wild, and the random factor makes me not want to play this. Like looking through my set at all the different 8 mana cards, like there are some okay ones, but like I don't want a random minion in my deck. I want what I put in my deck. Like this just seems so bad. But the guy definitely has a very large right hand, so I scored it a 1. Insert joke here.
Yeah, no, this goes with the rest of the set. It's a 1. I don't know what direction they were going. Maybe just to, I don't know. I think they just fell asleep on Druid, so it's a 1. I'm not sure what to say about it.
yeah, I also have this as a 1. I think that armor generation is just fine the way it is. Random 8/8s can be good. I mean, you could get like a Ragnaros, but you could also get, what is it, Hyreek?
Yeah.
So like, like I'm good. I'm not going to put this on my list. It's a 1. It is unplayable in Wild as I see Wild going forward. So
What does the flavor text say?
The flavor text says, "Don't ask about his right hand. He's still growing into it." But yeah, this card itself is a 1.
And for anyone who's not looking at the card, he has a massive right hand.
It's huge. It's
Huge.
like, Oh gosh. All right. Okay, we are now getting into the legends. The first one up is Kiri, Chosen of Elune. This is a 4-mana 2/2. Battlecry, add a solar eclipse and lunar eclipse to your hand. This is interesting for me. I think it's not bad. It's also not busted. I struggle to see what deck I play this in, but I'm a big fan of both of the portals or both of the eclipses. So I think it's playable. I'm just not sure where. I gave it a 3. I think that it's playable. I'm not quite sure what to slot it into. The idea that it's a battle cry and not a death rattle, I think is good. Like I like both of those cards. But I then again also like I don't think it's like busted for any reason. If I guess it depends how good both of those cards turn out to be. You know, if they're 5s or something, then maybe you do add this just to guarantee that you get those. But anyways, I gave it a 3 for now, and if it changes, then I will be pleasantly surprised, I suppose. Mike, what about you? You're muted, by the way. There we go.
Oh, sorry. I'm just I was just trying to make sure the podcast didn't have like random background. I know the cards that come out of it. I gave a 4. I rated 4s, so I should give this a 3. Right? Be appropriate.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll give this a 3.
That makes sense.
Okay. Personally, okay, so I gave the other 2 a 4 because I think that they're awesome. I think that generating more of them and guaranteeing them is also awesome. Same time, 4-mana 2/2 isn't very great, and I fear you can't have this and Oaken Summons in the same deck.
Nope. I mean, you can, but RIP your battle cry.
Yeah, so like you're gonna Oaken Summons, and this is gonna come flying out, and you're gonna go rip. So this is gonna be a 2 for me because while it does give you the cards that are awesome, I think that it's a bit of a liability having it in your deck. So you can't have Oaken Summons. Druids play Oaken Summons. Are you gonna cut that for this? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it doesn't have any board presence. So 2.
Yeah, I think that the deck that plays this is that kind of a Kel'Thas survival of the fittest deck that I was kind of like alluding to earlier. But even at that, I don't think that this is like hard run in that deck. Like it might get run in it sometimes. But I mean, 4 mana for a 2/2, even if it's buffed twice because of Solar Eclipse, then it's decent, but are you going to really feel good about playing it on turn 4? You get the resources. That's strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I rated Lunar and Solar Eclipse 4 and 5. I think I have to give Curie a 2, though. Like, those cards are so strong. This is just so slow. And the stats, like the base stats, are just so bad. If it was a 2/2 with taunt, I think I would be giving it a 3, maybe even a 4. But not being able to like even soak up any damage, and it's just kind of there. It's going to be played in that Kel'Thas deck in standard, but I don't think it makes the cut in wild.
Fair enough. All right. We've got one more here for Druid. This is our last class legend. This is Greybow. Greybow. Oh, yeah. This is a 5-mana 4/6 with taunt, and it's got Death Rattle. Give a random friendly minion Death Rattle, summon Greybow. I freaking love this card. Okay, like I don't know how good it is, but the taunt and Death Rattle make me want to try this in a N'Zoth like what's it called? Hydralisk deck. Hydralisk
deck.
Yeah, I know.
You love that deck.
You ruined that card for me. I can never get the name right anymore. I think it's a bummer that it doesn't have a class type or whatever, because the new N'Zoth could bring it back. What's interesting to me, it loses to a Zerg deck. It probably would, but it has taunt. What I think is cool here is that I think that there's a potential loop, right? If so my question is, does this will give a random friendly minion death rattle summon Greybaw in addition to its other stuff, right? So if I play this and it hits my my Sludge Belcher, right? When my Sludge Belcher dies, it'll summon a 1/2 and a Greybaw. Right. And so there's potential here to like just keep summoning Greybaws as long as you have another minion on board. Like if this dies and there's no other minions on the board, like rip Death Rattle. But like this dude just seems so cool. I now my problem with it is that I think that the Hydralisk Druid is like a tier 4 deck. Like it's my pet deck that is super fun to play and that is not good in the meta, but like it's very enjoyable. So I don't know. I think that it's playable. I like the stat line. The 5 mana 4/6 seems okay. So I give it a 3. I'm very excited for this card. I don't know how good it actually is, but I'm going to play it as much as I can because I really like it. It's not good. I know it's not good. I still like it.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think?
All right, so I give this card a 2.
That's
So
that's probably a more appropriate score.
Yeah, I'm going to apply the same logic to this card that you guys applied to a card earlier. When the battle cry is draw a card, and then if you play it, get +4 attack. It was 3 mana, right? The Demon Hunter card?
The 3 mana 4/1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys said that card was bad because it has 1 health and it probably wouldn't live. When in reality, most cards don't live. So this card needs a setup. This card needs a minion on the board in order for this death rattle to work. So I don't see how a smart player is going to allow this death rattle to go off. So I'm going to put this in Fringe and just expect it to be in a deck where I'm trying to get a quest done or an achievement or have fun. You know what I'm saying? So I'll put it at a 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. I also put this as a 2. I think it's really, really fun. Obviously, the fact that it has taunt, right? So the fact that it has taunt sort of helps out with what you were saying, Mike. Like some decks won't have a way to get through it though, right? Because it does have taunt and it's protecting the other minions, so they may be forced to kill it or just I don't know, heal pass.
If it didn't have taunt, it would be at like a 0.
Yeah. So the fact that it has taunt, like people are just maybe gonna slam minions into it, and then it just gets passed on to the next minion on the board. So I don't know. I mean, silencing it would be sweet, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be meta. I do want to play it. It looks super fun. It looks like it could be really annoying. Like, I hate Kartut Defender. Like, that is one of the more annoying cards for me to play against because it comes back and it comes back and it comes back. So I could see something like that with this card if it's possible, but I don't know if we're going to be seeing it on the ladder or anything. So I'm going to go with the Fringe 2.
Okay, so I've seen people theory crafting really spicy Treant Druid decks that also run like a Hadronox package. So the only taunts that they have in that one are Greybow and Goru, period. But then they also run so many different Treant tokens that they continue, building, and this basically just juggles between the Treants. So you're making a whole bunch of tokens, and then you're juggling the death rattle between your tokens, and it's not going to be a good deck, but it's going to be fun. So I'm giving this a 2 because I'm excited to play that deck.
Sweet. Agree.
Cool. All right. Yep, that works. All right. Okay. Do you guys need a break? You guys want to do one more class before we take a break?
I think I need to take a quick bio break myself.
All right, cool. Well, let's
Oh
take.
yeah, let's do a break time.
Let me. We've finished our first 2 classes. It's taken us 2 hours.
Finish the first 2 classes. Okay.
Demon Hunter we knew was going to take a little bit longer because it did have more cards.
It did have more cards. So let's take a quick break
true.
here. I'm going to end the recording. This will be part 1. We'll be back in just a second. So please don't leave. I'm just going to go use the restroom real quick and grab a soda, and I'll be right back.
Yeah,
and then we'll get started back with the next segment here.
Stay tuned.
Sounds good.